My earliest memory in childhood was being 3 or 4 years old, early in the morning, sitting on the floor tearing apart a Life game, and on the TV was the 1969 Spider-Man cartoon. It's probably the earliest cartoon memory that I have, but it was Spider-Man who's climbing up the side of a building, fighting some giant ants. Then let's fast forward several years later. The first comic book that I ever bought was Spider-Man 300, which, as we all know, is the first appearance of Venom. So my love for Spider-Man goes pretty deep. And as history shows, in the last two Spider-Man franchises, they have a tendency to get it wrong. In fact, they set it up in the movie where if you expect disappointment, then you won't be disappointed. So it was a good tagline for the movie. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I'm accompanied by my wife Jenn, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, it is 100. Woohoo! And we are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth. Well, something looks different. What can it be? Oh, that's right. Popcorn Confessional shirts. That's right. For episode 100, we decided to go legit and try to look a little bit more like a movie store or a movie theater. So some things are going to be changing in this episode and gradually as we go forward. But for now, you get to see the new shirts and you get to see a new rating system, and we'll explain that in our video that's coming out this week, where we're going to go over some announcements that you all are going to want to stay tuned for. So let's jump into this movie now.
So we pick up after the events of Mysterio revealing that Spider-Man is Peter Parker and actually showing his picture. Like, he puts it all on blast. Peter must deal with the court of public opinion and the impact on the people in his life, or he can wish it away by asking Doctor Strange to cast a spell where everyone forgets who he is. Only the spell goes wrong. Big surprise.
Well, Peter doesn't shut up.
Exactly. That's,
we see that in the trailer.
He never shuts up. And so the spell goes wrong. It opens up a doorway to the multiverse, unleashing villains from other universes. And if they're not caught soon, it could be catastrophic to his own universe.
Oh, yeah. So, as I mentioned, this could be a make or break for a lot of things. For one, I thought Marvel was kind of puttering out this year with the movies that were coming out, like Shang-Chi and the Eternals, and some of the TV shows seem to be a little bit weaker this year. Or maybe it's just oversaturation that we're dealing with, and it's like, oh my god, too much.
Maybe because we went so long without anything because of the pandemic, and now everything's kind of being shoved down our throats. Like, they're just trying to push everything out. Though I could have done without the Eternals, especially with a sex scene. Like, just come on, people. It was pointless. There was just no reason for it.
Now, what did you think of this film?
I don't have anything bad to say. I really don't have a lot I can say because I feel like I'll just spoil the whole movie if I say anything. I loved it. I've seen it twice now. I'm going to see it again and again and again. I mean, at this point, this is the movie in the Marvel universe that you need to top for me. This is it for me. This is my number one.
This is your bar?
It is. This is my bar. I'm setting it high. This is the one.
I will say during this movie here, a lot of really good acting in this movie. Not only from Willem Dafoe, who was amazing.
Absolutely.
Now, this is the Green Goblin that I really came to expect after reading the comics for so many years and seeing the character a little bit in the cartoons. We got the real Green Goblin in this. And Marissa Tomei, she did excellent as well.
And she doesn't age.
And then Tom Holland did a really good job.
I don't know. He grew up overnight. He's not a little kid anymore. I know he's in his mid-20s now, so obviously that makes a big difference. But he I don't even know what happened. Like, he's not the same little kid as he was when this started. He's come into his own, I think. And maybe it's getting other acting credits under his belt. I don't know what it is, but he was way different than he has been in the past.
Yeah. Well, I have to think about it. This movie was a perfect setup for what we've seen in the other franchises and what we didn't have here, right? In the other franchises, Peter Parker is meant to struggle early on with Uncle Ben dying, and he has to
Mhm.
cope with that. He has to cope with loss and struggling to be a superhero and just a regular teenager. And the first two movies, he's been just having fun, Peter Parker.
Yeah, he hasn't had to have these struggles, and he's been a regular teenager. His friends get to find out, and his girlfriend gets to find out who he really is. And, it's like no big deal. And everyone's just having fun with it. I mean, except Aunt May, she struggled a little. But besides that, he's had like the perfect life.
And if he screws up, he's always had somebody to bail him out, whether it's been Tony Stark,
Yeah.
or as we've seen Doctor Strange a little bit,
Happy.
or even Nick Fury. So he's
Yeah.
always had somebody to lean on if he screwed up. This time around, it really starts to fall on his shoulders.
Hmm.
You get to see the stress of that in this movie as it goes along, which I thought was great. Great story arc.
Yeah.
And there's this one scene where he is standing in the rain watching a Daily Bugle newscast, and it's just wow. Yeah, you just feel for him the
Yeah.
most out of all the Spider-Man movies that have been made.
Yeah. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson, I love J.K. Simmons, but let's face it, he's an asshole. he's he's definitely not a friend of Spider-Man, and he's not nice when it comes to reporting about him. And in this particular scene, it really breaks your heart because he is like really just bashing him. And all he can do is just stand there and watch it and probably feel like it's true.
Hmm.
Like maybe he is like this fuck up or this terrible superhero, like J. Jonah Jameson portrays him as, and it is heartbreaking.
I will say this is like somebody coming out of high school. They're on the top of the world.
Hmm.
Maybe they've been voted king of the prom. They think everything's going to be roses when they leave, and then all of a sudden, smack right in the face.
Yeah,
They get hit with reality. Some bad things happen, and now they have to cope with it like they've never done before, and that's what we saw here.
yeah, most definitely. And getting back to Willem Dafoe, he wouldn't sign on to do this movie unless he could do his own stunts, which I thought at his age is amazing
Hmm.
that he wanted to do that. And but you really get to see the other side of the Green Goblin with the mental health issue.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
I mean, he brought me to tears. Like it was
There's
even
changes in facial
yes, I was just going
expressions
to
and
say
everything.
that. Like you could just really see it in his eyes. Like he looked like he was a mentally ill person in his eyes. And that really tugged at me. Like that was like, wow, like that sucks. Like
Hmm.
I really felt for him as much as I wanted to. I mean, Green Goblin, he's a bad guy, right? Like as much as you want to hate him, it was like, that sucks because he's not really a bad guy. There's just a part of him that's bad.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with a mentally ill person.
Hmm.
Part of them is bad.
Only he made himself mentally ill by injecting
He
himself.
did, he did, but of course that was, because he was like money hungry and he wanted the power, and unfortunately it came back to bite him in the ass
Hmm.
in the worst possible way.
Yeah. Now there is a lot of characters in this. They spend, I think, the right amount of time on key characters and key villains. You
Yes.
don't have to have these elaborate stories. We've already met all of these characters
Hmm.
before,
Yes.
and some of them are So we don't really need to focus a lot around those
Yeah.
characters. There's main characters you
Hmm.
really have to focus on, and it's been evident in the commercials and on the posters,
Hmm.
right? Doctor Octopus and Green Goblin. So those have been the main focal points,
Hmm.
pretty much in this movie as well, and it was done excellent.
Yeah. The movie is literally just shy of 2.5 hours. It's like 2 hours and 28 minutes. I think that was a perfect amount of time for this movie. I did not get bored or antsy
Mm.
feeling like, oh my God, when is this going to end? I also didn't feel like I got cut off. Like, oh no, that wasn't enough time. I needed more. I feel like the storyline was explained in the amount of time that they did it with villains and superheroes. I felt like it was just done really well. The timing, the pacing was really good.
Well, I'm a little bit of the opposite now. This is a perfect end to the trilogy and Spider-Man story arc, as well as other characters that are in this film. But now I want to see a lot more from characters that were in this movie.
Well, not that I don't want to see more. I just feel like the way that they did it was good. The pacing and the timing was really good. I mean, it definitely left me wanting more, but not because it wasn't long enough, just because it was so good.
So much more story to be told.
Yes, definitely.
So, new rating system. What'd you rate this one?
I am giving this one the golden popcorn.
Wow.
I was very emotionally attached to this film. And that's kind of all it takes for me. I really need to feel those emotions. And I laughed a lot and I also cried. So, yeah, golden popcorn for me.
I am giving it a, hey, I would go see this in the theater again. And I did. So I may see it a third time. So that's where I'm not so much a golden popcorn for me, because it doesn't hit me on all of those levels, especially the artistic
Even though
one.
he cried.
I did not. It was
He did.
dust.
He cried again. And every time he cries, he never gives these movies a golden popcorn. It's like, what? You're mad at the film because you cried like a baby?
My contact shifted.
Oh, he's such a liar. He cried.
So I would go see this again. Did it already. Probably go see it a third time because it's that entertaining. It's on level with Endgame. It's, oh my god, it may be a little bit better than Endgame. It may just be even for me.
It's better for me. I did say this was the bar for me. Endgame was the bar before. Now this one is the bar. It has surpassed Endgame for me. I only watched Endgame twice and refuse to watch it anymore, simply because my favorite superhero has always been Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, and with him being gone, I'm done. I can't watch that movie again, so this one is the bar for me. It needs to be beat.
Did you see this movie? How many times? What did you
I
think?
mean, it only came out a few days ago, so we won't, get on you if you haven't seen it more than once.
So let us know what you think about this movie in the comments. Just be careful if you do leave comments. This is a spoiler-free review.
Yes.
So
we will do another one, right? That has spoilers. Are we doing another one?
I don't know. You said you didn't want to do it.
We probably should.
Oh, okay. Maybe we're going to do a spoiler review.
Let us know. Do you want us to do one with spoilers? Because maybe that's the one you want to have a discussion on. Because you can't discuss too much on this one. Unfortunately, if you do, we'll have to delete your comments.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and share.
Yes. Announcement coming this week. A bunch of reviews coming this week. Until the next.
See ya.